it's so clear now that we are at just the early stages of a move revolution. And this revolution is being driven by what we refer to internally as the four horsemen of the move revolution. And the first of these is really essentially a lifestyle movement where maybe we've left big cities during the pandemic as a result of being able to work from home and fled to Iowa or Idaho or Wyoming or a less dense area because we want more room for the kids to run around or whatever that characteristic is. That's been a major factor. Zillow estimates about 8 million more people a year have moved as a result of that in the last several years. And of course, we also see a pretty dramatic shift in empty nesters and retirees who've classically stayed in the towns that they raised their children in, are now leaving those, in many cases, suburban cities to move to college towns or other lifestyle centers like Bend, Oregon, or Paso Robles or Asheville, which we're sure is going to recover strongly. Um, that's been a major shift over the last several years. The second huge one is, of course, economic. Rising interest rates and incredible housing costs in major cities have driven people in droves to move to states like Texas or Florida or wherever it is they could find more affordable housing. And that major great migration looks like it's going to continue as development continues and interest rates come down over the ensuing months and years as we anticipate. Those two are well known. The third, which is pretty new, is really politics. There was a recent report in the New York Times that showed that 37% of movers now are moving because of politics or are taking politics into consideration as they consider a move. And while we wish that weren't the case, that's a major factor in driving behavior as this move revolution takes hold. And the fourth, and the one that we think is going to be the most dramatic, which we thought might be in the far off horizon, but now feels like it's now, is the environment. The recent hurricanes and tornadoes across the Southeast drove a huge shift in the nature of LookyLOO searches from Florida to places like North Carolina, even though, of course, North Carolina has suffered its own struggles. But just major shifts in what we think about, and not just because we are worried about our property being, damaged in the case of an environmental disaster, but also because we're thinking ahead to when that property might be sold in another 10 or so years, and we know that that person is going to be thinking about it. In addition to, of course, the major issue with insurance companies leaving different areas. So when you combine all these four factors together, you've just got a major landscape shift in how and why we're going to be thinking about moves. And that's exactly why we built LookyLOO, to give people the information that they need in order to make smart choices, to create intelligent shortlists that don't leave any possibilities out as they navigate this increasingly complex world. So we, of course, have deep narratives so people understand the pros and cons of a place. We have incredible data that gives people a real smart left brain way to think about one area or one city versus another. We have reviews from locals, so you're not just getting a third-party point of view, but you're really getting a sense of another parent who might live in an area and give you a sense of what the school system might be like or what the streets are like for kids playing. And then finally, we have what we refer to as our city corner, which is a place where the city can tell you what's coming, tell you what economic opportunities are going to be available as a result of development plans, et cetera. And all this comes together to create really the most robust and only platform dedicated to this broader point of view, because the competition focuses on listings of homes. They don't care about the earlier stages that a person goes through when they're trying to think about where's the best place for them and their families to live. As a result of all this, we have three stages at which LookyLOO generates revenue. The first of which is when the person is starting out and cities and states and regions want to market to them before they make their final shortlist, or certainly before they make their final decision. And that's a $80 billion industry trying to land businesses and populations and entrepreneurs. And we're at the forefront of giving cities and states and regions an opportunity to celebrate those experiences through campaigns. And the middle one is the biggest one probably, which is realtors get an opportunity to land leads earlier in the process than they might in other platforms that focused on listings. Mortgage brokers also would be in the same position. And then the final stage is when a person, comes to the decision that they're going to move to a place. And you've got moving companies, and you've got furniture companies, and retailers, and utilities, and internet providers, and all of that money that, just galvanizes around that mover, as we've all probably felt when we move, and the USPS is sending us coupons and all of that. And those three opportunities, joined together creates what we think is an amazing business opportunity for LookyLOO, and we think a great investment. And that's why we're, making this raise through WeFunder, is because right now we're at about 600 cities, and we have a map to grow to 10,000, and we have some amazing product development plans. But we're doing this raise so we can apply the funds to that growth, and continue what we think is this amazing opportunity, both for the consumer to learn, the cities and the realtors and businesses to market, and ultimately for investors to take advantage of a great investment opportunity. Thank you.